Are you tired of the mainstream media lying to you every single day? You are not alone. Millions of other Americans are sick of the corporate media fake news of the MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, New York Times, other Times, Washington Post, Political. Every single one of them are in the bag for the Democrats. They are all Team DNC. But now you have another option in independent creators like here on the CASHLOREN show. Well, we will go and we will expose the deep state, these unelected bureaucrats, and the mainstream media, along with the Democrats and their friends in the Rhino Uniparty, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Get the facts on the CASHLOREN show. I am your host, America's Truth Teller, shining a bright red light on the corruption and the hoaxes from the mainstream media and the Democrat Party. You're not going to want to miss a single moment. Join the American First Movement Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is the CASHLOREN show.
In 2025, we find ourselves in a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all three of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service, it's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Well, the Democrats have put themselves in quite a bind as they continue to be on the wrong side of every single issue that the American voters care about. The ones that you voted for, including putting America last every single time. And this has led to today when Donald Trump, when he used his own money and he placed two big, beautiful American flags in front of the White House, showing our pride and our patriotism here in the United States. As we believe that, and this is true, that this is the greatest country this world has ever known. In that this belief in this American exceptionalism, that you can come from absolutely nothing and then build vast amounts of wealth in a single generation. Or you can choose to go in whatever career field you want to go in. And it's not easy, as we're promised the right to pursue happiness. We are not guaranteed happiness. This is a very big difference between the way that our side looks at it and then between the way that the Democrats look at it. When the Democrats look at equity and they look at it like it's the finish line that matters. And so then they start from the end and then they say, well, this is not fair, or this is fair. So therefore they try to make up the rules they go along to get to the point that they want to go. And that actually does a lot of harm to you. As you can see, they don't fix anything, but then two, it takes away your agency. And worse, it makes you dependent on these unelected bureaucrats or the ones who did vote for and make all these promises, yet whatever gets done. The reality is life is very hard. And it's hard to go and it's hard to take something from nothing. But the reward, the independence, the freedom, the being able to look back at something that you accomplished and having this general amount of pride in it. See, that's really what America really comes down to, right? Is our individual liberties and freedoms under our Lord Savior, Jesus Christ. But the Democrats, they're opposed to all of that. And that's why they have to lie over and over and over again, as really they hate this country. I mean, they will go and they will try to pretend that they're all for this country and that they want, they'll hold the American flag up when they realize how unpopular they are, or they'll talk about how they believe in individual freedom. But then when you listen to how they're actually going about doing all of this, it's always that you have to give up your rights to them so the Democrats can go and make things equitable. Every single time. It's a worldview from the left where all their isms, whether it be from liberalism or activism, socialism, progressivism, or their climate communism, see, it all comes down to them needing to have power and control over your life. Everything else they say is a lie. Democrats just have this natural disgust for our country. as they see America as just being this bad and shameful place. And the only reason they ever pretend different is when they look at their poll numbers for 2 seconds, but their attitude and their policies never ever change. And they think that America needs to be brought down to its knees because it is the blood that is on your hands, all the bad things that have happened in the past. You need the Democrats to come and save you. But the reality is the Democrats are the villains. And villains, they always need victims. You are the hero. The choices that you make in your life, they are far more important than the decisions that will ever be made in Washington, D.C. or any other government agency. It's as simple as you're going to know your life better than anybody else. And the more freedoms that you have, the better chance you have to go out and do what is good and right for your life. I mean, look at what's happening to the Democrats right now. It's something that I never thought would be in politics. I mean, we always knew that the Democrats were anti-American, but they're so brazen about it now. They're just so openly vile and arrogant in these liberal elitists on the left. And they've gotten to the point now where they're dropping down their own polls, starting 30, 20, 19, down to 17%, all because they oppose every single issue that you care about. Right? Can you name a single issue that the Democrats on the right side of? The economy tanked under Joe Biden. Right? They releasing criminals left and right. They allowed our country to be invaded illegally. The Democrats taxed you into poverty, just like they always do every time you look everywhere the Democrats go, right? They start out with all their social justice and how this needs to be right. And then what do they immediately do? They need to raise taxes. Or you have the federal government that just prints money. It's $5 trillion coming in, $7 trillion going out, and no one knows where this money goes. And that's a much harder tax on you. That's the one that's much more difficult to see because your taxes don't go up, so you don't see it on the front end like on your paychecks. But you see it on the back end when you go to the grocery store, or when you go in to fill up your gas, or when you go out to a restaurant, or you want to take your kids on vacation, and everything gets up in price. That's inflation. That's the government printing too much money, as there's too much money chasing too few goods. But you voted for Donald Trump to bring our country back to normalcy. And part of this is having this pride in our country and having this belief in this exceptionalism that we live in the greatest country in this world and that we need to defund the government. We need to bring manufacturing back to the United States. We need a secure border, and we're going to deport every single illegal immigrant out of this country. That is what Donald Trump ran on, promises made and promises kept. And that was what you were wildly for, as Trump won all 7 swing states and Trump close to 80 million votes. Now the Democrats and their activist judges, they're trying to stand in the way of you, the American people. And then they wonder why they're so low in their ratings with you, the American people. There's just no wonder. As we have now Trump, as he's talking to fake news, he raised these polls today, and he spent over $50,000 of his own money to put these 200-foot flags in front of the White House. Isn't this just something that's amazing, right? We don't have these pride, right? All these rainbow colors shining up and dividing our country. We don't have some trans Easter bunny running around in the White House, stopping the former president from talking to the press. One of my favorite videos from the Biden administration. Now we have Donald Trump who's putting our country first, making America great again, bringing back the golden age of this country. And the Democrats are in the way. And you cannot hate people for the Democrats and then they're fake news enough. As they're going to try to word some questions here as this raising his polls and listen to how they answer the questions. And then Donald Trump perfectly responds.
Response to CNN.
No.
There's a split,
Fake
though.
news. Fortunately, nobody watches.
But my question
Is anybody watching CNN nowadays? I haven't seen it in a long time.
But some of your
I almost swear that Trump lives for these moments. Who are you from? You're CNN? Oh, that's fake news. I mean, who listens to fake news anyways? I think really the only reason to watch CNN right now is the Scott Jennings clips that come out. Outside of that, fake news is just absolute garbage. And that's why like people for AOC, that's why she will call for things like she will call for censorship. Because the Democrats have gotten so used to that. When they use words like misinformation or disinformation or hate speech, what they really mean is silencing truth that they don't want you to know. And they're so used to MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post, Political Axios, all of them are in the bag for the DNC. They are all Team Democrat. And they've gotten so used to where they could just lie to you, the American voters, and get away with it. But now that we have X and Rumble and we have independent creators, now they can no longer get away with that, as we can expose them for lying. You know, one of fake news's favorite lies is they'll word questions like that, where your voters are divided when they're not divided. But they try to word things that way, and Trump just laughs them off, rightfully so. And for the longest time, the fake news, they had absolute monopoly on information. You can only go home, you can only go to these same networks, and there was no real way to get out true information to the masses. And one of their favorite ways to lie, the ones that they got away probably the longest, is that when they would want you to come to a certain conclusion, they'd either one, completely ignore the story, or what's far worse, is they present the story to you, but they'd only give you the bits and pieces of information that they wanted you to know. And then they would leave out the details that they didn't want you to know, because if you came to those conclusions, if you knew all the facts, you would never come to the conclusion that they want you to come to. Yet they're continuing to double down. Democrats, 17%. Fake news doesn't even have ratings anymore. And they're still trying to pull the same crap they were trying to pull with the Biden administration, like progressive communist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, calling to silence the truth.
I do think that several members of Congress in some of my discussions have brought up media literacy, because that is a part of what happened here. And we're going to have to figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew disinformation and misinformation. It's one thing to have differing opinions, but it's another thing entirely to just say things that are false.
Democrats know all about saying things that are false, don't they? That's the issue that they're coming up with. And that's why they're at 17%. But the Democrats, they can't tell you the truth, because they know that nobody will go along with what they're saying. So the Democrats' entire party, their entire platform is based on lying to you. And when the Democrats win, they are successful at lying. When conservatives win, we do a better job of telling the truth. So when they say things like misinformation and disinformation, what they're really saying is truth that they don't like. But then she just lies, but she can't give examples because she knows it'll all fall apart. And then we have Donald Trump also now dealing with more fake news as he puts America first, raising our great flag when the Democrats run Palestine flags, Mexican flags. Our side runs the great, beautiful American flag.
You've been answered questions about whether you are moving closer, or you believe the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities. Where's your mindset on that?
I can't say that.
Again, all the questions they can ask Donald Trump. The war pigs are trying very hard to push this hoax and trying to get us in a land war in Iran. And Trump has been doing a masterful job of skirting around this. If you all remember all the way back to like the end of his administration back in 2019, when Iran took out one of our drones, right? No people involved, just a drone. And then you had Bolton and others. They were wanting Donald Trump to go and blow Iran to the smithereens. And make no mistake about the push for all these nuclear weapons in Iran. We talked about like Iraq and the weapons of mass destruction and all that happened in the past. What they really want is regime change. They want another permanent, endless war for the DC Uniparty and for the war pigs to get filthy, stinking rich off the blood of your sons and your daughters. That's the one thing that they're going for. Now, Donald Trump was standing in the way. So you see how they try to word that is they try to word it in a way that Donald Trump, like what they think is truth when it's not. And Donald Trump just tears them apart.
Right? You don't seriously think I'm going to answer that question. Will you strike the Iranian nuclear component? And what time exactly, sir? Sir, would you strike it? Would you please inform us so we can be there and watch? I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that...
Yeah, that's one of Donald Trump's very smart things. Nobody knows what I'm going to do. Iran doesn't know what he's going to do. Israel doesn't know what he's going to do. All these fake news networks, they're trying to guess here what he's going to do. Is he had a meeting with the Security Council, and then Washington, the Journal, they posted this. And so now of course, all the fake news are going around this. And we talked about this quite a bit yesterday. But again, going through what's happening with Iran and Israel, and whether there is or is not weapons of mass destruction or anything else that's going on over there, there's so much bad information that's coming out that it's really hard to tell what it actually is and is not true. And we have reports coming out as if it's coming from the White House, but it's not coming from the White House. And this is how fake news runs their same old hoaxes that they do every time. Exclusive. President Trump has told senior aides that he approved attack plans for Iran. Again, sources say as the war pigs and the Uniparty try to push this war, but it's holding off on giving the final order to see if Tehran will abandon its nuclear program. When I say that you do not hate fake news enough, I mean that you don't hate fake news enough. How many times are they going to run what these experts say, or science says, or any of these other hoaxes that they continue to run over and over again, and then wonder why they have no influence left? And we see the rise of here on the independent creators. This is why Trump is north of 50% approval, and why the Democrats are under 217%. It's hoaxes like these. It's hoaxes like when he honors our great America, and then they try to change it into something it's not. Or when he has a parade for the 250-year anniversary of our military, and then rather, just like with our flags, rather than showing pride in our country, they try to make it like it's some kind of communist utopia march, like the same old hoax as the dictator. This is why the Democrats are at 17%, and this is why they're going broke. And we're going to cover that and a whole lot more here in just a second when we come back from this greedy profit break. This is the Cash Loren Show.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2025, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all 3 of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Folks, have you wanted to start a podcast but you just don't know where to begin? Podbeam is your all-in-one solution to host your podcast and distribute it all across the internet. With my code on the affiliate link down below, you will gain also 1 month free to try the Podbeam service. This is really your one-stop solution to hosting your podcast. Record it, you put it up to just a single upload, then that upload will distribute to all of the main platforms all across the internet, including Apple and Spotify and many, many others. It will then also automatically share your podcast across all major social media, making your job easier so you can spend more time recording the podcasts that you love and less time managing them on the back end. Podbeam is your all-in-one solution for your podcast needs. Click on the link below, the CASHLOREN, and get your 1 free month today. If you are watching this show, then you are probably sick and tired of the corporate media we call fake news lying to you every single day. You are not alone. This has caused many citizen journalism, as much as I hate to say the J word, that's really what we're doing, is exposing the fake news networks and the corrupt government every day without the filter of the corporate media deciding what you can and cannot know. Many of us make these videos with the extra room that we have in our houses, just like I am here in our spare bedroom. But making these is not free. We have families to feed as well. If you are enjoying this content, then it will always be free, and I thank you for your support. But if you want to help monetarily, there's a great way to do that on Locals. Click on the link below, sign up for our different tiered programs, and we will have additional content for you based on the level that you sign up for, including being thanked in the end of videos every single day. Take a moment, if you enjoy this content, and sign up for the monetary support and help us stay on air and offer you more benefits, such as more shows and better production. So sign up for today at Locals and support the citizen journalisms and help us get past the fake news networks. Well, there we go. Let me get hitting right buttons. Well, apparently the New York Times is reporting that the DNC for the Democrats is going broke. And not only are they going so broke that they're now looking at, they might have to borrow money just to stay afloat. So welcome back, folks. I'm your host, CASHLOREN, where we make liberals cry tears that are saltier than you-know-whose fries. And this is being reported here by the New York Times, and they are saying that the DNC is in chaos and desperate for cash. Under its new leader, Ken Martin, the Democrat National Committee has been plagued by infighting and dropped big donations, raising alarms for Democrats as they try to win back power. You know, the thing is, they're going to try to blame this guy. The reality is that Democrats, they're on the wrong side of every single issue. And they push so far to the left that they don't realize just how far they have gone, that they don't have anyone in the middle left. I think one of the best examples we saw is like Elon Musk, who was essentially a centralist, but was a middle left. And the Democrats pushed so far to one side that he posted this meme and he said, you know, I just believe things like free speech. And they wanted to ruin his life and his businesses over it. And he said, yeah, I'm still sitting here, right? I'm still middle left. And the middle used to be here, as I get my cameras backwards. But now you guys have pushed so far over to this way that I'm finding myself on the right. And that's essentially where the Democrats are right now. Is they're so far over to this side here, they don't realize the rest of the country's way over here. And all the people that used to be on their side are on their side no more. And many who would think, you know, I'm kind of socially liberal. Right, most of the country socially liberal, but more conservative on policy, are find themselves just, you know, what do we have in common anymore? You know, what's the issues that we can all agree on? You know, where is the common ground? I mean, we used to at least believe, at least the Democrats used to pretend that they loved our country, that we had the greatest country in the world. I mean, at least we had that. But now they're openly hating and they hate our country with such passion and such divisive nature that they're pushing everyone in the middle out of their camps. So no wonder then people don't want to give money to them. And also, I think this is kind of interesting how they're running out of money now after the US aid has been cut. I mean, that certainly is suspicious. That you had all this money going in the US aid and then all out to all these NGOs. And then who knows from where, and then suddenly, you know, that gets cut off, and the Democrats are going broke, plus on the wrong side of every single issue. Where do they go from here? I mean, they're betting 100% on illegal immigration at this point. They have simply gone all in. They're trying to bring as many illegal immigrants here and then keep them here with their sanctuary cities. Do not doubt me for a single second. This is 100% about votes and nothing else. This isn't about equality. This isn't about human rights. This isn't about being fair or equitable, about the American dream. It's about none of that for the Democrats. For them, it's about importing as many illegal voters as they can here and then making them legal to vote for the Democrats, either now or later. And that's why the Democrats, when they talk every time about they don't want the illegal immigrants out of our country or why they left the borders wide open. Never ever doubt that for a second. Is when they start to talk about how they want to, find a pathway to citizenship, or how nobody is illegal, right? Or human rights or basic rights. All the same typical lies the left tells over and over again to try to get you to come to a conclusion you never would, because if they told you the truth, then none of you would agree with them. And so the Democrats are stuck with lying endlessly. As the New York Post goes in, just a month tenure, the New York leader, Ken Martin, the Democrats' National Committee, finance institution has grown so bleak, the top officials discuss where they may need to borrow money this year to keep paying the bills. And we're not even in an election year. Fundraising from major donors, some who Mr. Martin has still not spoken with, has slowed sharply. At the same time, he has expanded his party's financial commitments in every state, even so far-flung territories like Guam. So this is just simply how desperate that they are. The Democrats have absolutely nothing. And that's a weird statement. So this goes, so you want to go to war? I don't even know what you're talking about. Of course not. We don't want to go to war. That's why we invited Trump back in to do peace. Trolls, I guess. This is not what any of you voted for, is the Democrats' party line. I mean, name one issue that they're right on. Even when they're trying to go for like women's rights, we're going to get into Tennessee and SCOTUS here very soon, when they had another big loss where SCOTUS ruled that Tennessee can uphold the trans ban for minors. And when they try to pretend that they're for women's rights, which is they've been the huge push in the past, then all of a sudden when you find out what they're really talking about is women being able to abort as many children as they want, right? They call it the women's right to choose. Because, of course, they have to lie about women's rights when they talk about choice. What it really is ending the life of innocent children. Because the Democrats, they are drunk on the blood of the innocent. And there's one issue that everybody, there's nothing that will get a parent to cross party lines faster than protecting their children. So where is it? Where are they with the voters? Right? What issue are they with the American people? I can't find a Democrat who can name a single one. And this is caused by their own little liberal elitism, their belief that they are exceptional, that they are smarter than you, that they are better than you, that they have Ivy League degrees, that they are the liberal elite. They're just so arrogant. Right? It's just almost like slime coming off their bodies. And so because of that, they only talk to themselves. They only talk to each other. And they all think the same as the little sheep Democrats do. So they go, well, I hate Trump. Well, I hate Trump. Well, every illegal should come to this country. Well, yeah, every illegal should come into this country. And they don't ever realize that most of the people don't agree with them, because anybody that tries to say anything else, they immediately shut them up and silence them and then slander them. Whether they call them racists or bigots or homophobes, transphobes, white nationalists, extreme MAGA Republicans. But when you're a deep communist left Democrat, everything seems extreme to you that's not communism. And as they go and they try to push this, this is what makes them weak. Is when if you don't agree with them, they won't have a conversation. They try to shut you up and silence you, which is exactly what they've done here. And so when they don't realize, then all these people that they shut up and silenced, they don't just stay with the Democrat Party. They start wandering over to the right. And then start thinking, well, I thought I was left my whole life, but, I can't go along with this. We're America. We're supposed to be fighting communism. We're not supposed to be trying to create a communist utopia. I'm not okay with riots. I'm not okay with mass illegal immigration into this country. Right? This should be like very simple stuff. But you have the Democrats, they're on the wrong side of every single 80-20 issue. Every single one. This is why they're going broke. And this is why Trump, despite all they're trying to lie with their polls and talking in front of cameras, is that Trump is getting more popular. And there's more people coming into this country who want on our side, who want to be now on the Republican side because they can't see anything in common with the Democrat side. Illegal immigration, I think, pushed more people to the Republican side than any issue, even women's rights. So according to this, they spent $1 billion in 80 days trying to get Kamala Harris over the finish line. But I think her actual campaign was over $2 billion by the end. And there's over $50 million in debt. We're not even to elections yet. What's going to happen in 2026? See, this is a huge problem for the Democrats because if they have no money, they already have a very bad map. This isn't like 2022 where the Republicans had a very bad map and we still almost came back. And all the talk about the red wave that ended up not becoming a red wave. See, the thing is, people like Jimmy Graham, the little traitor, tried to put a nationwide abortion ban right before the election that he knew had no chance. But it gave the Democrats all the talking points in what they thought was their voting bloc, single women and women's rights to choose. And thus, we know what happened in 2022. But here, going up in 2026, we have a much better map on our side. And now the Democrats are extremely unpopular, and now they're broke. We got a long ways to go, but so far the Democrats have learned no lessons. They're continuing to do all the same things that they've done in the past, and they continue to learn nothing from any of it. They just double down on stupid. Screw around and find out. Please do it. We also have some reports now. It's kind of suspicious. It's very ironic that USAID gets cut. And what's really funny about this is USAID wasn't even, or even more ironic, is USAID wasn't even on the map. They weren't even being looked at. It wasn't until that Donald Trump signed his executive order, and then they started looking at who was ignoring his executive orders. And all of a sudden, up popped USAID. And when they started looking at, finding out where all your money was going into all these NGOs, and NGOs meaning non-government organizations, but that is just another Democrat scam. There is nothing non-government about these NGOs. They're mostly funded by your tax dollars, ran by very liberal Democrats to push this radical leftist ideology here in America and here in the rest of the world. Almost exclusively to the left. As we dig in deeper and as we learn more, it's really amazing that there still is a Republican Party. I mean, when the Democrats, when they had virtually all of the deep state, all these unelected bureaucrats, and then they had virtually all the tax money, and then they had Hollywood, and then they had all the mainstream media, and yet with all that in their corner, they still couldn't get Kamala Harris over the edge. It's truly remarkable that we're still almost 50-50. Even with all those advantages they used to have. But now that USAID is drying up, all of a sudden, these riots that they tried to start, right, this No Kings, and you want to talk about mental illness, right, is that the Democrats try to celebrate No Kings on June 14th, when really Americans, when we celebrate No Kings on July 4th. Because that's when we actually tell a real king to go pound sand. Not their made-up fake king hoax the Democrats are making up now when Donald Trump is the one that you voted for. Donald Trump loves to joke about this is, if I was really a king, I wouldn't be having all these problems, right? My agenda would just be happening. If Donald Trump really was the dictator the Democrats say he was, then Donald Trump would be throwing a lot more people in prison. And a lot more should be in prison. But now they're not. Whereas we go and we face this judicial coup, You know, all these unelected judges trying to overthrow your will as the American voters. I mean, how many of you voted for a single one of these judges? Right, 0. But how many of you voted for Donald Trump? So he has exclusive Article 2 power to run the country. He's the only federal government officer that the entire country votes on. There's not another one. You all knew who he was. He was very open on what he ran on, and he won. So when these judges, when they're trying to usurp his Article 2 power by writing these junctions that have no authority to write, they're not really usurping Donald Trump's authority. What they're really trying to do is usurp your vote for the Democrats. Because the Democrats know they can't win elections, and they know that they're basically down to illegal immigrants to vote for them, either now or in the future, right? And we don't even need to talk about illegal voting or mail-in ballots. Just listen to what the Democrats are saying about trying to make illegal voters, right? To give them pathways to citizenship and try to keep all of them here when they do nothing for American citizens. Or they're trying to abuse the birthright citizenship, which is also coming up on SCOTUS's docket. The America is overwoke. And we are going to take our country back. And SCOTUS should put an end to this jishaku, but at least they're putting an end to some of it, like these biological males being in women's sports. And with that, we're going to have to go and we're going to take a greedy profit break. We'll come back. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. This is the CASHLOREN Show.
Throughout history, the spirit of patriotism has prevailed. The battles may have changed, but the values remain the same. Today, in 2025, we find ourselves at a pivotal moment where the call for unity, freedom, and a better future echoes louder than ever. For more than 10 years, Patriot Mobile has been committed to supporting the values that make our nation great. With affordable plans and reliable nationwide coverage on all 3 of the major networks, Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless service. It's a call to action for those who believe in the American dream. Because this year is not just any year, it's the most important year since our nation's founding. Choose a wireless carrier that shares your values. Choose Patriot Mobile.
Folks, have you wanted to start a podcast but you just don't know where to begin? Podbeam is your all-in-one solution to host your podcast and distribute it all across the internet. With my code on the affiliate link down below, you will gain also 1 month free to try the Podbeam service. This is really your one-stop solution to hosting your podcast. Record it, you put it up to just a single upload. Then that upload will distribute to all of the main platforms all across the internet, including Apple and Spotify and many, many others. It will then also automatically share your podcast across all major social media, making your job easier so you can spend more time recording the podcasts that you love and less time managing them on the back end. Podbeam is your all-in-one solution for your podcast needs. Click on the link below, the CASHLOREN, and get your 1 free month today. If you are watching this show, then you are probably sick and tired of the corporate media we call fake news lying to you every single day. You are not alone. This has caused many citizen journalism, as much as I hate to say the J word, that's really what we're doing, is exposing the fake news networks and the corrupt government every day without the filter of the corporate media deciding what you can and cannot know. Many of us make these videos with the extra room that we have in our houses, just like I am here in our spare bedroom. But making these is not free. We have families to feed as well. If you are enjoying this content, then it will always be free, and I thank you for your support. But if you want to help monetarily, there is a great way to do that on Locals. Click on the link below, sign up for our different tiered programs, and we will have additional content for you based on the level that you sign up for, including being thanked in the end of videos every single day. Take a moment if you enjoy this content and sign up for the monetary support and help us stay on air and offer you more benefits such as more shows and better production. So sign up for today at Locals and support the citizen journalisms and help us get past the fake news networks. You know, I don't know why people doubt me. When I say things like the Democrats want illegal voters to be here, as they're using illegal immigration either now or later to make a brand new permanent voting bloc for the Democrat Party. And this is their solution to why they're so unpopular. So welcome back, folks. CASHLOREN here, where I've been proven to be right 98% of the time. The other 2%, I make the mistake of asking my wife for her opinion. Nobody's perfect. But, and this, again, I'm 100% right, and people, for some reason, they doubt me. And so here we have a clip right here for the Democrats. And
Republican colleagues who say, I don't want any undocumented people in this country, I actually agree with you. So let's document every single one of them with a speedy path to citizenship. That's how we fix this problem. But this terror campaign of having masked people rolling up in vans, unmarked vans, grabbing students off of the street. But we also have to talk about the agents themselves that are carrying this out.
Right. So that never, ever doubt me. Every once in a while, the Democrats will stop lying and they will tell you what they actually think. That they brought in all these people illegally to our country and they just get here, right? Just get into our country and they use your tax dollars to house them, to fly them all over the country, to feed them. And then now that they're here, now they're trying to keep them here exactly like you said, right? To create pathways to citizenship, meaning a brand new dedicated voting bloc to the Democrats. Because they know fully well, they get the people here, they get them addicted to these federal government employment, essentially the welfare state, and then they will permanently vote Democrat. Them, their children, their children's children. Just like the Democrats did to the black community for over 60 years when they destroyed the civil rights movement, which should have been about equality, and instead created their great society, and Lyndon B. Johnson corrupted it and created the welfare state that destroyed black families, but created a virtual permanent voting bloc for the Democrat Party. And that's exactly what they're trying to do here with the illegal immigration. None of these tricks are new. So none of you should ever doubt me for a single second. That is exactly what they're pushing for in their very own words. When they take a chance and they stop lying and they tell you the truth for once. This is all about votes. Plain and simple. It's about permanent power for the Democrats. You know, they talk about how, how they talk about the police and they talk about law and order, right? All of a sudden they vilify the police for enforcing our laws. Yet they ignore all the criminals that come into our country. I haven't heard a single one of them do a single cry for Laken Riley or any of the other Americans who have lost their lives and more to these illegal invasion of our country. Or you, the taxpayers, when you go to work and then your tax dollars get used up for all this welfare state and your money that you worked hard for becomes worth less and less and less. I don't hear any of their tears for any of that. None for American citizens, only for the illegal criminals that they want to turn into voters. So when they tell you who they actually are, believe them. Never doubt it for a second. And not only are they very unpopular, the Democrats, with this illegal voting, they're also very unpopular with what they thought was their strong point, women's rights. The thing about the Democrats over and over and over again is that they only can win when they lie to you, the American voters. If they're successful at lying to you, then that's how they win votes. And they try to really abuse women and talk about how this is about women's rights and this is about equality, when it's none of those things. If you look at what Democrats are trying to reduce women to, they're trying to go against the very nature of the man and woman raising a child together in the nuclear family under our Lord Savior Jesus Christ. See, that is what has built the greatest country this world has ever known. But when you're healthy, when you're happy, you don't vote Democrat. That's why the Democrats, they need to make you so mad all the time, and why they need to make you rage and angry, because it's essentially just like being drunk. If you're angry and you're upset, you're not thinking, and you just rage. Rah, rah, rah. And that's why they push all these buttons over and over and over again, and they will never, ever talk substance. And when they try to reduce women to I think the most satanic thing that a person can do in this life, right, is in an innocent baby's life. You see any mother, right, who holds their child, or you watch your children grow up. This is in the very nature of who we are as people. We grow up, and then we raise our children and try to have them have a better life than we do. And then they have grandchildren, and we go and we spoil those grandchildren silly. That is the normal way of life. We have over here on Rumble, and it says, "Good man, truth." Thank you. I appreciate it, Jason. Yeah, this is the way that we make the greatest country in this world, as opposed to the Democrats, who they want to reduce women down to ending the ends an innocent life. But the Democrats, they are drunk on the blood of the innocent. And that's failing. And now the other half of that's failing, as we're getting into the SCOTUS ruling, is that they also, at the same time, they try to pretend that they're for women's rights. On the other side of all of that, what do they do then there is they then go and they try to reduce women to well, what is a woman? Well, we don't know. Right? It's up to you to decide if you're a woman. So they're allowing these biological males, or you're calling transgender, but they're biological males that are pretending to be women. When they are not. There is just men and there is women. That is it. Period. But they insanely invaded women's sports. Now you're seeing the end of it. You're seeing what happens when men, biological males, invade women's sports and spaces. Again, on the wrong side of another issue, but they're doubling down on that. And they had to go all the way to SCOTUS to come in and uphold Tennessee's trans minor ban. This is essentially saying that that they're not allowed to do surgeries, these permanent surgeries on these minors. And we don't let a minor smoke. We don't let a minor drink. Most places don't even let minors get tattoos, but you're allowed to permanently remove body parts. Or, I mean, just imagine what that does to someone's mind. And not only is they just not only trying to allow us naturally, but we're finding out like teachers and adults are actually trying to convert these kids. Hey, you know what? Do you think maybe you're a girl? Oh, hey, do you want to play with this doll? Or giving them very sexualized books at a very young age. Something that should never, ever allow to be happen. And we must stand up and we must fight for women's rights now. This is one of the major battles in our life. And you saw what happened with the Democrats on Title IX, right? Joe Biden tried to change Title IX. Remember he's saying that the LGBTQ plus A, whatever numbers, symbols that they're making up today, how we see you. And he threw all the women off to the side, and he tried to change Title IX to where it could be anything. You know, you're a woman today. You just decide it, and boom, you are. And now all the other women, they just have to pretend that you're a woman. And all the other men. When everybody, even a little child, knows what they're looking at. And then the biological realities that men are bigger, stronger, and faster. Hey, that's why women don't play in the NFL. That's why we have a WNBA that's so awful that the men's league, the NBA, has to subsidize it. And not one of those women could play against the worst team in the NBA. Not a one. If they could, they would be in that league making millions and millions of dollars. You all know it. And we're sick of it. And so this is Tennessee, and this is a huge SCOTUS ruling. As let me get up to my slides. I think that's the wrong one. I think this is it right here. Let's see. Get out of this. So this is the Washington Post covering women's rights, in case you don't hate fake news enough. Breaking news, the Supreme Court clearly had the way of the states to ban certain transgender treatment for minors. Which they try to use all this woke language over and over again to not tell you what they're actually talking about. When they say transition treatments, what they mean is permanently removing body parts. Polarizing the nation. No, it's not. The Democrats are very unpopular on this. The administration seized on initiatives targeting transgender rights. It's always funny on the Democrat side where somebody else, there's no equality. Like you have to lose your rights for then their fake virtue signaling of the day to gain rights, right? It costs you. So it doesn't matter, right, how many women lose gold medals or how many women are injured by biological males, right? How many women lose opportunities? To them, it doesn't matter because their fake virtually signaling only works one way. You know, if you don't agree with them, then you must be a racist or a bigot or a homophobe, transphobe, or a white nationalist or an extreme MAGA Republican. Anything they could try to get to you to silence you in a submission. And then we had this one here. So this is from J.D. Vance, as he decided to go on, let's see, this is Blue Sky. And this is the Democrats. This is their answer for X. This is essentially X for Democrats. And Blue Sky's their main thing that they push, the one thing they want, right? If you go like, why go on Blue Sky? Well, it's censorship. And what X used to be when it was Twitter before Elon bought it and turned it into X. And so Vance got down there and he said, hey, great. You know what? You want to have a conversation? Let's have a conversation. And he started talking about men and women and rights. And then what happened immediately? They immediately kicked him off and they banned him. And then to make this even more ironic and more funny as we get back to X, because X got so popular for free speech, is that they kicked off the vice president of the United States, just like they kicked off the president of Twitter, these socialist, progressive communists. Well, that wasn't enough for them. And it came with this huge thing on X right before we came on air. And because of free speech, Blue Sky apparently got bullied into putting J.D. Vance back on Blue Sky. We'll see how long that lasts. I'm almost tempted. Maybe I'll do it this weekend. I'll go make a Blue Sky account and I'll just say some very basic common sense stuff. And let's see how long that lasts for. I mean, Blue Sky must be so bad. Even some of the devout leftists are coming back. Like Stephen King is back. And you have like Joy Reid who says she wasn't coming back, but she admits that she comes in and, well, maybe I don't post, but she still comes on X because X is where we're at. Right, this is the town square. We have, let's see, so this is the American Academy of Pediatrics. So here is the experts say. The Supreme Court's decision today does not change the science. You're actually right. It didn't change the science. The science has always been the same up until 5 minutes ago. There are biological males and there are biological females. There is nothing else. Anything beyond that is mental illness. Period. Simple. But then they take that little bit of truth and then they try to twist it with all this woke nonsense and wonder why nobody trusts the experts anymore. Gender affirming care remains evidence-based. Based on the experts say that a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy because, you know, woke, and if you don't agree with the woke, then you are a racist, bigot, homophobe, you know, all the normal stuff they say, they try to slander you into submission. Care provides the health and well-being of transgender youth. Again, there is no such thing as a transgender youth. There are boys, there are girls, and there are mentally ill adults. That's it, period. And then they stand firmly with, you know, all the normal woke stuff and family healthcare decision, all that normal nonsense that they use to try to silence and bully people all before the rest of this happened. You know, Democrats keep not learning any lessons. As we have Kathy Hochul and see if I can find the clip. Let's see. I don't know where it is in there. So I don't think I got the Kathy Hochul clip brought up, or maybe this is it. This might be it.
Walking out of this courthouse, taken away from their families. They don't have the attention. They don't have the lawyers. And that's why the state of New York is providing $50 million to cover legal services for people who are finding themselves in this situation.
Right. So there you go with the Democrats, right? Always America last, just like we started off the show with, is that they hate this country. They never, ever doubt that for a single second on the left. They look at America as the worst place in the world. As we just got this evil that we're done. Now, we're colonizers. And that, we've done all these awful things other than we built the greatest country this world has ever known. But to the Democrats, you see, that's how their worldview works, is that America is so bad, so unforgivable, that there's just so much blood on your hands that the only possible solution is to give the Democrats all the power so they can decide based on their made-up, woke brain fog, essentially, and just they decide what is moral, what is right, what is good, what is just. But at the end of the day, what it always is power. Is for the Democrats, they need you to give them their power, and that's why they're bringing the illegal immigrants here. Let's see if I can find. Did I bring that one up? I did. Okay, so I got that queued up for here. Just a minute. I'll try to get into that before we run out of time. And so your tax dollars, right? $50 million that you paid in the taxes. She wants to now give to lawyers, right? How much you want to bet these leftist, elitist lawyers, right? Who got career useless degrees in like civil rights. And I'm not saying that civil rights are bad. I'm just saying that industry often has nothing to do with civil rights. It has to do with, like they're doing here, protecting illegal criminals and trying to avoid the law. So that's why the Democrat, that's why he was taken into custody when he tried to help an illegal immigrant escape court. Just like that judge from a few months ago, when she tried to help an illegal immigrant avoid ICE and she got arrested too. What they don't show you and they don't tell you is that ICE is arresting illegal immigrants because that is our law. And then what they're trying to do now is he tried to walk past ICE agents, grab an illegal immigrant by the arm, and then what he thought he was going to do, march past the agents that are there to arrest the illegal immigrant, and then, I don't know, walk out the door, go get ice cream. No idea what he thought was going to happen there. But he screwed around, he found out, he got arrested, and now the Democrats are pretending that it's the police's fault for enforcing the law. Because they've gotten away for far too long with this two-tier justice system. And we're going to go one more point of why they're pushing so hard for all these illegal immigrants. Okay, this is why on the Democrat elections. Because when you say like New York is deep blue, it's not nearly as deep blue as they want you to think it is. I've lost that paper here. As you look at New York, it is mostly red, just like most states. Just like my state here in Washington. All right, mostly red, but some very dark blue spots. It's not near as hard to flip as people think it is. And you see how close Kathy Hochul was to losing to Lee Zeldin. There's only a couple 100,000 votes in New York. No wonder they're pushing so hard to bring these illegal immigrants here and keep here. No wonder they're working so hard to try to stop voter ID and proof of citizenship, not just for things like voting and for Senates and Houses and other elections, but also what doesn't get talked about enough is for the census. As the census right now is only a head count. There's no proof of citizenship whatsoever. And so there's how many seats there. I think the last we saw there's 20-something seats that they thought the Democrats would lose if the census was done by voter ID. I think California alone lost like 5 or 7 House seats. Now imagine if the Democrats lost 20 to 30 seats just off illegal immigrants not being able to count for a head count. And that's why they're putting America last so hard. It's because they want permanent power and they rely on illegal immigration to keep it because they're on the wrong side of every single issue here in the United States. This is why our side, the American side, of why Trump, despite all their lies, is becoming more and more popular now, and why the Democrats are losing more votes. They're down all the way to last I saw 17%. They are very unpopular, and fake news can't hide it for them anymore. They can't rely on their social media. They can't rely on running to the fake news cameras, and they can't rely on their fake virtue signaling. Because now we can get the truth out and expose them for who they really are. American last communists. That is the fight of our life. And with that, I'm at the top of the hour. We're going to run out of time. The rest of these stories have to go back in the stack. I want to thank every single one of you for listening. And we'll be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you're enjoying this content and you want to support, one of the best ways you can do it is go to locals.com at the CASHLOREN Show. It's only $5 a month, and help us end the fake news monopoly on information. We provide very many benefits for you for only a few dollars a month, including posting articles there Monday through Friday. And now we're starting to add in a weekly chat on Sunday evenings. And then we're putting your name at the end of videos. I'm remaking that one right now. So that's how you go to locals.com, sign up right now. It's only $5 a month, and help independent creators stay independent and stay on the air and fight the Democrats and their fake news mainstream media. We'll be back tomorrow. This is the CASHLOREN Show.